Hey, let me put my guitar down. You guys probably can't make out what's on the screens behind me. It's a couple of websites for finding musicians. You can go there and you can log in. You can create an account. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, but you create an account and you can post an ad for, if you're a band, you can post an ad. You're looking for a singer or drummer, bass player, whatever. Or if you're an available musician, you can post an ad for that. Most of these sites, you can see some of the ads. You might not be able to get all the details without creating an account, but we're going to talk about some of them today. There is a ton of these guys out there. Bandmix.com, musicianscontact.com, musiciansconnect.net, gohendrix.com, musicianspage.com, bandfinder.com, musiciancasting.com, musicmates.com, findamusician.com, musicianfinder.com, musicianswanted.org. As you can tell, there are a pile of them. Why are we talking about these sites today? Well, as some of you probably know, if you follow me on social media or you're on my email list, I've been looking for a bass player for over 1.5 years, pushing 2 years. And I've not had very good luck with any of these sites. So I'd like to maybe get a dialogue going. You guys could leave comments down below. Tell me which sites you've used, which sites worked well for you, which ones didn't. And we can help each other out here a little bit. If you've got questions for me, I'll be happy to reply. But yeah, we're just gonna touch base real quick on a couple of the ones that I've used. And to wrap things up, we'll talk a little bit about do's and don'ts when you're posting on these websites, either as a band or as an individual musician. I think the first one we'll talk about is Bandmix. Bandmix has probably the best user interface, I would say. Once you create an account, you can either do a free account or a premium account. And to be honest, I don't know what the differences are between the paid and the non-paid versions. I've only used the free version recently. I think I used the paid version for a while, many years ago, but I don't really remember much about that. So with Bandmix, you see on the home page, big letters, seeking musicians. And they have a field there where you can punch in the category that you're looking for, and then the city or zip code for your area, and it will pull up a whole bunch of recommendations. And sometimes those recommendations are misleading, and I'll get into that later. But once you get into the site, you can see they've got a search function, a browse function, your dashboard. They've got a message interface in there, and then of course the button for the upgrade. The thing I like the most about Bandmix is how robust their search function is. You've got a whole bunch of different musicians. You've got everything from accordion and banjo and DJ and fiddle all the way up to different types of vocalists and everything in between. That's very handy. The browse function allows you to browse different states, different areas for available musicians. On your dashboard, they will show you new matches based on your search history, what you've been searching for. Within the new matches, you can hover over the profile picture and there will be a button to directly contact somebody from that, or you can click on the picture and it'll take you to their profile where you can get more information. It also shows you new local members, which is handy. Then they have something called connections. So they've got recommendations for you based on your search history. Then they've got profiles that you've looked at recently and profiles of people who have been looking at your profile, which is a really cool thing to have. Overall, I think Bandmix has the best interface. It's got the most options and is probably the most useful. Let's move on to another one real quick. Another one that I've used is called musicianscontact.com. With them, when you create a profile, you don't create a username. They give you an access code that you use. You do have to create a password. While their website's fairly nice looking, I don't think I had very good luck with them. The questionnaire that you have to fill out when you set up a profile is pretty detailed. They ask lots of cool questions. But if I recall correctly, and I'm not logged in at the moment, so I can't actually answer this for sure, but I think their search function does not allow you to filter by your location, which seems kind of odd to me. When I got results from my searching for a bass player, they came up all over the place, and I think it's alphabetized by the city rather than the state. So to me, that's a bad move. Apparently these guys have been around for a long, long time, since 1969 maybe, I don't know. I didn't have any luck with these guys at all. And we'll get into that in just a couple more minutes. All right, so now we're at musiciansconnect.com, and I believe I tried these guys for a little while. Again, I didn't have very good luck. The website uses advertising apparently to fund themselves. I can't even get into it right now because I have an ad blocker on my browser. The thing I remember the most about them is that I thought the site had, again, limited search functionality. I was finding ads that were old. I mean, really old, like 10 years old, hadn't been updated, hadn't been removed. Yeah, I didn't have good luck with these guys. So with Musicians Connect, there are a couple of cool things. You can upload video files apparently and photos, of course. I don't recall if you could upload just audio files. They've got a couple of decent things, and they are a free site. The problem is if you want to browse ads, you got to make sure you turn off your ad blocker. So this one's called findamusician.com, and because this is a still picture, you can't see that top banner is animated, which is cool. But outside of that, the rest of the site looks like it was designed in 2012. It's basically an old-fashioned bulletin board looking website. So it's got kind of this weird colored key thing with the ads. You've got blue for male, sort of this lavender for female, and this mustard yellow for band, and then a light green for not stated. Categories that pop up when you've got an ad here, it's got your genre, the instrument you play, and then a field called I'm looking for people who play, which I think is kind of weird. You ought to be able to opt for either individual musicians or I'm looking for a band. And then they have a field that is apparently just comments, and when you click to see more, you get a little bit more in terms of their general location and age, and a little bit more on the comment field. It's a very old-fashioned looking website, and I have found ads on here that probably been up for who knows how long, and didn't get any responses from the people I reached out to. So again, I didn't have good luck with this particular website. So I could go on and on and on in detail about each one of these websites, but I just want to touch on a couple other ones real quick. First one I want to talk about is called GoHendrix.com. Relatively new website. I joined up with them. They're another free one. I don't think they have a premium version. I reached out to a couple people that I found via GoHendrix, got zero response from them. Nobody reached out to me except spammers. I got so much spam through this account that I dumped my ad almost immediately, within a week probably. And I don't know, maybe other people have had better experiences with GoHendrix.com than what I've had, but my experience was really, really unsatisfactory. Let's talk about bandfinder.com. I had high hopes for this one because several of the founders are in the Chicago area, which is where I'm near. I read the About page and it sounded pretty good. It sounded like they were asking all the right questions. They are a paid site, but they're only $10 a year, which is, you know, it's outrageously cheap. As they point out on their sign-up page that, you know, a good hamburger will cost you $10 or you know, maybe a set of guitar strings or a couple pairs of drumsticks or something. I don't know. $10, $9.95 a year is really dirt cheap. I don't remember how long I was with Bandfinder. It wasn't very long. I paid my $10 and then I didn't renew. I haven't used it for a long time. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago that I used it. But some of the ads that I saw 5 years ago are still there. Let's take a look at this one. Check this out. He's been a member since January 1st, 2012. He shows himself as a beginner, playing for less than 1 year. Well, in 2012, he was playing for less than 1 year. What about today? Does that mean that he is now, you know, a seasoned performer? I don't know. This ad hasn't been updated. There should be some sort of mechanism in place to get ads like this out of the view of the public. If this guy's not active anymore, he's got to go away. It wastes so much of my time trying to weed through stuff like this. Speaking of wasting time, let's talk about some of the other things that aggravate me about this whole process. Each of these websites have their pros and cons, and I'm not going to try to do a deep dive into each and every one of them in this video. If you want to see me do a deep dive into one of them, leave a comment down below and I'll see what I can do. Let's get back to the things that aggravate me about this whole process. And most of this falls not on these websites, but on the musicians out there. That might be some of you guys. Let me give you some do's and don'ts. If the site you choose to use has an option for audio and video and photos, use it. If you don't use that, you're wasting a lot of time. You're wasting your time. You're wasting the time of the people looking at the ads. By having audio up there, people will know right away whether or not you can actually play your instrument to the level that they need. Pictures, video also will give them a better idea of who you are and whether or not you're a good fit, and it'll save everybody some time. And speaking of pictures, don't take a stupid picture. I can't tell you how many potential bassists I rejected because they had a stupid picture. I'm thinking, this shows extremely bad judgment. And if they've got bad judgment in taking a picture, what else have they got bad judgment in? You know, they might end up in jail because of their bad judgment on the night that we're opening for, you know, somebody really big. Let's see, this next one we're going to pick on band mix just a little bit. When you're on the page where you've got the list of instruments you're seeking, do not click this button. It says check all. Don't do it. Do not do it. Just check the ones that you're actually looking for. Like this guy, he checked it all, and it appears that he's looking for
accordion, acoustic guitar, background singer, bagpipes, banjo, bass guitar, cello, clarinet, DJ dobro, drums, electronic music, fiddle, flute, harmonica, harp, keyboard, lead guitar, mandolin, other percussion, piano, rhythm guitar, saxophone, steel guitar, trombone, trumpet, ukulele, upright bass, violin, vocalist, alto, vocalist, baritone, vocalist, bass, vocalist, soprano, vocalist, tenor.
And he's really not. I guarantee you, he doesn't want a bagpipe player. I guarantee it. He does not want a bagpipe player. It's a waste of time. It's rude. It's inconsiderate. Don't do it. Check the instruments that you're actually interested in having in your band. If you check that button, what that tells me is that you're lazy. And lazy people are not going to work in my band. My band takes a lot of hard work. So if you've done that, go back and uncheck that and just check the instruments you're actually interested in playing with. Speaking of instruments, don't list yourself as being a piano player if you took 7 weeks of lessons when you were 9 years old. You're not a piano player. If you're not prepared to walk out on stage this weekend and perform with the instruments you've listed, take them out of your ad. I have reached out to people who listed themselves as bassists only to find out that they didn't even own a bass or a bass amp. Well, I can play bass because, you know, it's like guitar, only 4 strings. Don't do it. If you're not prepared to play something on stage this weekend and you don't own those instruments, do not list that you play them. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Trust me. So the one site that we haven't talked about is Craigslist. And I've actually had better luck with Craigslist than any of these dedicated musician finder sites. That's probably worth its own video, but I'll just sum it up by saying that I found a really good bass player who was with me for years until he had some changes in his family and he really had to step back. I also found a really good drummer. Again, he had to leave the band when he had some major changes in his life and moved way out of state. But I have found some great guys through Craigslist, and I've had better luck with that than I've had with any of these other sites that we talked about today. If you've had good luck with one of these websites and you found somebody through them, leave a comment down below and let me know which site you used. Just tell me the whole story. It'd be really interesting to know. Maybe we can help each other out by sharing this information. And that's what I'm all about, is helping other musicians out. All of us helping each other out. That's my rant for today. Until next time, live well and rock hard. I'll see ya.